Hey everybody, it's Nick and it's Eric, and it's December in the Bay Area, which means holiday traditions.
Experience Shenyun.
And, of course, the tradition of the Ars Frieza-Palooza at Sonoma Raceway.
We had a bunch of teams and cars show up that we hadn't seen for a while, including multiple overall winners Cerveza Racing who did, in fact, win. And here are your other class winners.
Another car we hadn't seen in a while is the 97 Taurus SHO of Team Brap. This car goes all the way back to Altamont, and it was great to see it again.
Nick, was there anything weird that happened in between Altamont and this race for that car?
Wait, get this started. It's a terrific race, ladies and gentlemen. The smoke and the flame, all the humanity.
Not that I can think of.
Back after something like 10 years was Crazy Mike's Scrubbing Bubbles Beetle, and they pretty much picked up right where they left off a decade ago.
Yet another car coming back after a long break is the Team Hasselhoff Toyota Paseo. We love this team. We love Paseos. Although I have to say, the Knight Rider theme, you need to do more than just painting the car black and having a little red thing on the front.
As it turns out, the Paseo was not the only marginal Knight Rider at this race. Here's Team Knight Rider and their Celica-based kit.
And then there was the El Coche Fantasticos and their Civic-based kit, which Knight Rider sucked least.
Yeah, we're going to give the nod here to El Coche Fantasticos and their Civic. They were a first-time team, tackled a bunch of fairly major mechanical issues during the race, including a head gasket and bottom end bearings, and they had the best jackets.
Okay, back to the teams we haven't seen in a while. One of our all-time favorite Lemons people, Pete Peterson, who used to drive the Killer Zombies MGB. We haven't seen him in forever. And his team actually wasn't racing at Sonoma, but another veteran team, Half-Life Racing, decided to do a full tribute to Pete and the Killer Zombies. All of the drivers dressed like Pete. They themed up their Miata to match Pete's legendary MGB Bumblebee racing car. The best part, Pete, who wasn't going to come to Sonoma, he got wind that this was happening, drove all the way up to the track and hung out with the team.
As always, we had several great rookie teams, including 3 or more Amigos and their BMW.
You've heard me mention this in wrap-ups before. Sometimes a team will ignore all of those repeated email warnings we send out about registration deadlines right before the race, and weirdly, that same team will also have a car that isn't ready, helmets that are out of date, and so on and so forth.
It's a lifestyle!
But this rookie team, Drive for Show, Putts for Dough, they had all of those late registration issues, but on race weekend they showed up right on time with a fully prepped and tested car and all of their gear, and everything was ready to go.
Pure fiction.
Yeah, that didn't happen. But despite missing Friday Tech Day, all of Saturday Race Day, and most of Sunday, they finally did show up with a few hours to go in the race. They made it through Tech, bought a helmet to replace their one that was totally expired, and actually made it out on track.
And if you ask GT Pordy Racing, being ready to go at the start isn't always a good thing. This is a rookie team. They did have everything lined up. The car looked great. It was a Ford Fairmont Futura coupe, and they crashed it and totaled it on lap 1.
And another rookie team we'd like to highlight is Oakland PB&J and their Toyota Corolla. This team, which includes some guys from the City of Oakland Building Inspection Department. Side note, I swear all of the upgrades I've done to my house, all permitted and done to code.
Well, okay.
They're like realtors, they're all pirates.
This team combined a lot of the highlights of the other rookie teams. They registered on time, they had a good theme, they had the crayon paint scheme, they had a Toyota that seemed to run pretty well for the whole weekend, but they didn't have enough power to crash on the first lap like those poor guys in the Fairmont. We're looking forward to seeing this team again.
Now, as you know, it's pretty rare in Lemons for a Miata team to struggle to come up with a good theme. But if you're a Miata racer like Psycho Pooch Racing and you can't think of anything for your theme, literally just look around and theme your car after the first thing that you see.
Colonel Angus was back.
Cunnilingus.
This time they added a Taste of the South element to their theme, and they had various local delicacies from down south. They're from Kotati. That's not the South. That's not even the South Bay.
Our friends from the People's Republic of Racing were back in their Honda CRX, and this time, instead of yoga, they invited all their fellow Honda racers to a Saturday night Honda meet.
And I tell you what, either you find a fourth or you don't race. How about that, huh? Why don't I just find y'all a fourth and we settle this on the streets, huh?
Bring him on.
Anybody I want.
Tráelo.
No matter who it is. Yeah.
Reckless Wrench Garage brought their Fiat X19 to Sonoma. Actually, as an 83 X19, it's technically a Bertoni X19 because it was made after Fiat went permanently out of business.
It's false.
Now, this car ran exceptionally well for a Fiat/Bertoni, and we're not actually sure why.
Our friends at Dirty Duck Racing had a bit of a rough go in their 50-plus race veteran Rabbit. At first, they had a rear main seal leak, and that contaminated their clutch disc with oil, but, it turns out that's fine because you can just toss your oil-soaked clutch on the campfire and it'll work perfectly the next day.
Dirty Duck seasoning discs for that down-home campfire smell of emphysema.
But as the GT Porty Fairmont guys found out, having a running car can create other problems.
I just want to give a quick shout out to Prince and the new powertrain generation. They've been bringing a great Prince theme for several races now, and this time, one of their guys was sporting a new, very specific Prince outfit. This was Prince's look from 2004 when he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and totally shredded on the George Harrison While My Guitar Gently Weeps live performance. Unfortunately for this team, their tech slot was right behind the Dodgebon. We'll talk more about the Dodgebon in a minute. Everybody ignored Prince, but we wanted to give them some recognition.
We had Team Point Break It with their Volkswagen Golf.
No way Bells is bigger than YMA, bro.
Back off, war child, seriously.
I am an FBI agent!
Faster Farms Racing was on hand, celebrating their 15th year of Lemons racing. They even resurrected a version of their original bowling ball activated ironing board active rear aero. And let me say, looking at this car in its pristine condition, I just can't believe it's been 15 years.
Known Volvo enthusiast and pro racing driver Randy Popes was there driving a couple of BMWs, but Rancho de Lama and their Volvo 240 offered Randy a seat for a little bit, and in this case he did great, except the part where he crashed it a little bit. They got a signature on their dashboard out of it, and thankfully, Randy going to the next race the following weekend in Road Atlanta, we know he got all the crashing out of his system.
If you've been following Lemons, you know that Team 420 is sponsored by the Pure Life Cannabis Dispensary. This time, they renamed their team Reefer Madness and had a totally modern take on the dangers of cannabis use.
Marijuana, the burning weed with its roots in hell.
The musicians/real race car drivers of Team Nopar were back with their mostly stock 1989 Dodge Colt. And when you have a mostly stock 1989 Dodge Colt, what else are you going to play for your live performances but...
And then there was the equally spirited and less talented musicians of the Sesame Street themed Team Cabernet. Good thing our longtime staffer and friend and Sunbeam Alpine owner Armand was there to lend them a hand.
As you probably know, Lemons legend Anton Lovett's Volvo PV544 was sadly crunched into a little ball at Road America. Now, thankfully, nobody was hurt, but the 544 was a total write-off. Incredibly, in the 8 weeks between Road America and Sonoma, Anton located another Volvo sitting abandoned in Utah, retrieved it, coaxed the original B16 back to life, installed all the safety equipment, and made it to Sonoma. Really an incredible feat for an amazing car, and you'll probably be hearing more about this car in the future.
Our esteemed sponsor, eBay Motors, was on hand, giving out free custom Lemons eBay shirts and entering Lemons racers into a contest to win a side-by-side ATV. We were chatting with their staffers, and they said all the Lemons racers were fun, friendly, and most of all, not weird. Which got us wondering, what other events is eBay sponsoring?
We are the National Micro Mini Tractor Pullers Association.
Send her victorious, happy and glorious.
We had a great judging crew on hand with judges Mental, Corey, Tim, and Jeff. And man, at times the penalty box just looked like a used Miata dealership. Thankfully, the judges brought plenty of great penalties for those Miata drivers, including hula hoop for 1 minute, the shoey penalty, and of course the West Virginia homestead penalty where you have to put your car on blocks and eat salty snacks.
Elsewhere in the penalty box, there was a new team, Capitola Motorsports, who got this 2011 Crown Vic straight from the cop auction with the Capitola Police graphics still on it. And although this team we don't think are actually cops, they quickly got into the spirit by denying any wrongdoing after getting a black flag, and then being forced to change their story after the body cam footage was released.
And then there was team not sponsored by and their C4 Corvette. The judges tasked them with fixing the Christmas lights, which those same judges knew was impossible. And although this Corvette team had fixed their Opti Spark earlier, so if anyone could pull it off, it would have been them, didn't really happen.
If you didn't want to embark on an impossible task fixing Christmas lights, the judges also gave Black Flag teams the option of donating to Ranger Road. Many teams did that. We really thank you guys for your support.
Speaking of Ranger Road, they were our first award recipient for Ars Frieza Palooza. Now, if you've been following this channel, you know that last year at Sonoma, Ranger Road crashed their GTI and then spent hours totally reconstructing the front end of it. And the year before that at Sonoma, Ranger Road crashed their GTI and spent hours totally reconstructing the front end of it. So this year, after Ranger Road crashed their GTI and spent hours totally reconstructing the front end of it, we awarded them the special award, the annual Petaluma Hippie Car Pulling Fest Trophy.
Judge's choice went to the Ricers and their Infiniti G35. This was a rookie team with a great custom paint scheme and just generally a cool vibe. At one point, another team pit maneuvered the Ricers going into turn 11, knocked the muffler off the Infiniti, but the team had developed such a rep for being good folks by that point, the team that hit them tracked them down and offered to help them put their muffler back on. Just a quick aside, if you think any old team of random people can show up with a Japanese car, rice patty hats, and a team name like the Ricers, I mean, come on now, it's 2023. You just can't perpetuate stereotypes like that. Conversely, if you're a team of random Asian people with a Japanese car, rice patty hats, and a team name like the Ricers, you could win Judge's Choice, like this bunch did.
Not to be racist, but this is the best bribe ever.
We love rookie teams and we love PT Cruisers, even when, maybe especially when they win the I Got Screwed award like the Mile High Pistons. As their name suggests, these guys are from the Mile High city of Denver, Colorado, and trailered their PT Cruiser all the way to Sonoma, California for this, their very first race. Just a few laps into Saturday, the PT Cruiser blew a head gasket, and these guys had never tried to fix anything like that before. But they were confident they could do it because they were watching Chris Fix videos. We felt like maybe this wasn't the time to talk about Chris Fix's recent track record in Lemons. But With Chris Fix at their side, they did manage to swap the head gasket back in by the wee hours of Sunday morning, got it back out on track, at which point the engine entirely blew itself into tiny pieces. They got screwed, but much like Chris Fix himself, they kept a positive attitude through their setbacks. We cannot wait to see this PT Cruiser again.
Heroic Fix went to yet another rookie team. This is Nara Miata in their 2002 Mini Cooper. This is a team of young folks from Sierra College, and they reached out to local Sacramento area Lemons veteran Renee Lamb of Team Hulk Smash to help them.
I probably should not have associated myself with them.
Now, when we say this was a rookie team, we mean that some of the drivers were learning how to operate a stick shift in the paddock during the race. This became a bit of a problem when the Mini's starter crapped out. It set up the hypothetical situation of stalling the car on the hot pit lane after wristband check and then having to sit there forever waiting for a bump start. And then, once they finally did get out on track, well, they understeered straight into a concrete wall.
Allegedly.
Luckily, the thing about Minis is that BMW did not cram all of the important mechanical parts in the 2-inch area immediately behind the front bumper.
It's false.
Nara Miata were not fazed by that, having brought a parts car with them, so they just started swapping all the suspension parts from the left front corner, till they eventually realized they would have to swap the entire motor and subframe and decided then to call it quits. That wasn't the end of their weekend, however, because they continued to fix other people's cars even though their Mini was done, and that was heroic. And one of the cars that the Sierra College kids helped fix was the eventual Halloween Meets Gasoline winner, and that's the award that we give out to the best themes, costumes, and decorations for the weekend.
Yeah, Foot Wedge Racing won the HMG, but on Saturday, they blew out something in their golf steering linkage, and they were all but ready to pack up and head home, but then Sierra College came over and they helped them weld, bolt, clamp stuff back together, got Foot Wedge back on track and all the way to the checkered flag on Sunday.
And critically, that allowed Foot Wedge to relentlessly continue their ridiculous Krampus theme. Now, Krampus, as you know, is the European folk figure / 2015 horror movie involving some sort of goat demon and an army of evil toys, but basically it's the perfect companion to a holiday race in wine country.
If anybody orders Merlot, I'm leaving. I am not drinking any Merlot!
Krampus and his minions spent the weekend terrorizing tech, invading the paddock party on Saturday night, and even running feral children out of the penalty box. And most importantly, they were in character all weekend, earning a well-deserved Halloween Meets Gasoline trophy.
Organizer's choice went to the enormous 75 Lincoln Continental with the horse on top, the car that the team calls Buttercup. This car has raced several times now with the horse on top, but this time the team added Lemons legend Neil Losi to their driver roster. And it turns out Neil's sister is an actual horse racing jockey. So, to pay tribute to his sister, the team added a jockey to the horse and it looked magnificent.
The Index of Affluency, our top prize, went to Bernal Dads and their 2001 Dodge Ram van. Now, this was their first ever Index of Affluency win in 15 years of Lemons racing, and they crushed it. This was no ordinary Dodge Ram van. This was a tribute to the Japanese car cult of Dajiban. Dajiban, of course, being the Japanese riff on Dodge Van. Dodge?
Van.
Dajiban.
This has been a fad in Japan for a few years now. Dodge vans are modified for road racing in a very specific style with a million little small details that go with the theme, and the Bernal Dads nailed every single one of those tiny details. One of their team drivers, Todd, flew to Japan and met with Takuro Abe, one of the main figures in the Dajiban scene, to get close-up, first-hand info on how to prep a real Dajiban.
Back at Sonoma, the team arrived with an NHK special automotive correspondent, actually just their friend Rich, who chronicled the team's trip through BS inspection.
クラス C、ラップペナルティ0。
And in the Lemons race, which for the record, is a lot longer than the standard Japanese Dajiban race length of 3 laps. The Bernal Dad's Dajiban ran great. It's a giant van with a V6, and it just kept going around and around and around, ultimately finishing 60th overall out of 133 entries. And the best part, when you're driving a humongous giant white box the size of a barn, there is 0 chance anyone will possibly hit you.
Zero.
And that brings us to lemons in a nutshell.
Every second you don't subscribe or watch one of these videos, another Vega is sent to the crusher. Won't you help us save Classic?